Just a few thoughts on the true economic cost of booking through third-party sites. A lot of times, the temptation to use a third-party site to book air travel because of the expense can be really tempting, but I just want to pause and do a little bit of math with you. I'm not great at public math and not to shame myself, but you'll get the point here in a moment. We flew through Seattle at Christmas, which we normally don't travel at Christmas time, but we did this year, and we paid the price. We left our rental house plenty of time. There's pretty decent snow coming down, but being from areas in the country that get heavy snowfall, it wasn't a big deal. We got to the airport plenty of time. 5 minutes before we were supposed to board, our flight was canceled. We fly Delta on this trip, and the app says that we'll rebook you. Well, nothing happened, so we went to the desk, got part of our party rebooked through Salt Lake the following day, and then back to our final destination. That was the plan anyways. The other half of us, because we were traveling with a dog, opted to go on a smaller regional carrier, basically a turboprop, and got lucky and secured some seats. That was actually one of the last flights for this airline out of Seattle to the destination that we wanted to go. And as we were walking to the gate, the flight was again delayed, so to speak. It was delayed every half hour for a period of 12 hours, which left us wondering if we were ever going to get out of there, which is super challenging given the number of travelers stranded that day. There were over 1,000 flights canceled in and out of SeaTac that day just because of the particular heavy snowfall, shortages due to COVID, and other factors at play that were beyond anybody's control. It became apparent that the flight that half of us were going to go on the following day was probably not going to happen either. Just looking at the sheer volume of people trying to rebook, and oftentimes it's based on seniority or status, and the tickets that we held weren't actually tickets, they were just requests for seat, which basically meant the agent told us the flight was oversold, and he was hopeful that we would get on, but couldn't guarantee that. What ended up happening with that flight is it was originally going to depart 7 o'clock the next morning, got pushed to noon, got pushed to 4, got pushed to 8 p.m. the next day, then canceled. So had we not made alternative plans, we would have been stuck in the airport, half of us at least, for another day. The other issue is finding a hotel. There were thousands of travelers grabbing up hotels, and some choices less desirable than others, to say the least. And traveling with a pet exponentially makes that a much more difficult proposition. Got to the Alaskan area, Sea Terminal and SeaTac, if you're not familiar with Seattle Tacoma International Airport, and the line literally was thousands of people. It was all the way from the far end of the C concourse all the way out to the A gate around like A2, A3, something like that. So a massive line. Pulled out my app and just bought the first tickets I could find, and paid the price. Expensive. But hopefully we'll get some money back from Delta. But the point being is there were a number of people that had come up to the desk or counter when I was standing there and tried to rebook after their flight was canceled, and they had used a third-party app. There's tons of them out there, and the agent said, there's nothing we can do. You're going to have to call that number and let them try to help you. Well, just imagine the number of people trying to do that, the difficulty of trying to secure a seat, and in the end, had we not just grabbed the first tickets we could find on Alaskan and paid the extra fee, the cost of getting an Uber to the hotel, paying for the hotel, getting an Uber back to the hotel, meals, and all that would have far exceeded the, number one, savings of using a third-party app, number two, the hassle of trying to be one of thousands of people on hold trying to rebook through a third-party app. And the other point is these flights were already full with holiday travelers, and now you've got thousands and thousands of flights that need to be passengers need to be reassigned. So in the end, using a third-party app in this particular scenario would have not only not saved any money, it would potentially cost 2 or 3 times the amount. When we looked at the Uber from SeaTac to the hotel we were potentially going to stay at that first night, at least half of us, just because of the surge in the demand, literally a 10-minute ride was $98. So just multiply that by 2, throw in the hotel, the food. Sometimes there's a pet fee associated with that. You're talking easily well into the thousands of dollars just for a missed flight, which is completely out of the hands of the airline. Mother Nature has its own thoughts and methods, but just keep that in mind when contemplating saving a few bucks using a third-party booking app, that it really hampers you in terms of changing flights or getting rebooked in the event of a weather catastrophe. Take care. Be well.